expecting that at all, but to play a game that close to T1 and get them at their own game, that is something special, right?
And to come back from being behind in this very snowbally meta against this team, it's like unbelievable. It might be the first time we've seen it in this fashion this entire season.
Yeah, I think it is.
Just really deserves a lot of respect.
Speaking of respect, we'll still respect the Gumayusi here on red side as T1 picked blue side a second time. And Draven gets banned away. Let's see if they're going to pick the Lucian lane once more. Because if you ban right now the Ashe, they pick the Lucian, you take away the Nami, not going to have as much power without the Draven in that setup lane. It might mean we have to play something else here. Might be Viper playing the Zeri. They might opt into the Aphelios lane, which would be really hyped to see. So once again, Lucian first pick. This time without the Draven, though. I don't think you're taking that Nami away.
No, yeah, I think you just go for a totally different lane. As you're mentioning, like Aphelios Thresh, or maybe if you want to go for Zyra Khan. A couple of new options that have sprung up in this meta. You don't have to, like, randomly go like Veigar bot or something weird, right? Just go for something pretty standard and stable. You've already proven that you can take them down.
Will be the Zyra Khan variant here. So Nami going to be locked in now. The question becomes, what jungle pick do T1 want? The Sejuani works really well with Tidal Wave. You can chain some CC together that way. You know, you could look for potentially more picks later, but I don't think that's the style you're looking for here, really, considering it is going to be a Wukong on the other side. It is also going to be a Xayah, which is very difficult to lock down. Looking for more damage and more well-rounded compositions here on T1 side. I think Lee Sin is also still fine here. As a loss for Oner's Lee Sin, by the way, huge. Very rare, and he was on track to actually hit 90% win rate on it.
Like a rare
season.
Pokemon, man.
Yeah, but with that loss, chances are much lower. Looks like he's going to lock it in once again, though. I will see the Xayah. And this is where we get, though, like you said, I loved how you put that earlier today. The second part of the draft, the more important part, the more interesting part. As this part is usually just pretty set in stone.
Yeah.
Like when this B1 pick comes through, you're pretty sure you know everything that happens in this part of the draft.
People
what
like sometimes
next?
Choose different junglers, you know, depending on flavor and stuff like that. But, you know, our jungle pool right now is like 4. So let's see what they do in the second half.
K'Sante definitely deserves a look, I'd say, here for T1. Because that was picked blind and, sure, weak laning phase, you could argue, but ultimately it doesn't matter.
Yeah, like
he wasn't doing a whole lot with K'Sante, but that's quite common, in fact. So we'll see the Azir banned. Also what Faker was able to pick up last time.
Bengi's like, yeah.
Talia will match. This is getting really hype, man, because we know we're going to get a completely different game here. Like, some aspects of T1's draft the same, obviously, but the draft from this point on changes quite significantly. Is you're looking at a lot of strong picks here on T1 side to take away, right? The Gragas also very good in this scenario, right? You have to consider that could be flexed in the R5 counter pick. The Jax is another problem. You know, you don't want to have Kingen on that pick. LeBlanc will be taken away now too, and we'll see if Faker wants to just make it 4 mid bans here.
Feels like Sylas is hanging out, you know.
Gragas too, though, so strong here.
Yeah. You might get the Sylas Gragas lane if they just want to handshake it, you know, if Zeka picks up Sylas and maybe Faker hops on to that one. They're once again going to ban Ornn, which leaves K'Sante available.
I think it's the safest pick you can grab right now. You feel comfortable into Jax, you feel comfortable into Fiora. There's not a lot of matchups that Kingen is worried about playing here with the K'Sante, but they will take the Gragas I was hinting at here with this mid pool thinned out so heavily. This is a pick that can also go top. So that's the power that you have here in red side. If they pick Jax now, you put the Gragas top, you have a counter pick for Faker. And this is what, you know, what's so puzzling about the blue side selection here for T1 is that it opens up so much flexibility here. You pick blue side to get Lucian, which you picked last time. You banned the Draven, but HLE have such a great answer here. And now is where Sparks really have to fly on the draft. Let's see what Bengi and Faker's plan are when we hit this part of the draft where...
Veigar? Ahri.
Okay.
Okay. Faker Zari.
This is a really risky pick. I mean, this is turning this composition into a has to snowball, has to get tempo advantages comp, or it falls behind so hard.
Taking away the Cassante too. And that Gragas is going mid.
Any pick that's going to buy you time, Fiora, Jax in the side lane here is so incredibly strong. Could also just play Sion though. Have an additional front line, block the Ahri from setting up charms. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, we're breaking the rules, Valdez. We're doing it again, Rascal.
Rules broken. I mean, it could just be Gragas top again.
Yeah, I mean, Rascal played the Akali top last time in our previous series.
Mm-hmm. Into the Fiora. Let's see what they want to go for.
I do think that there is a lot of pick potential here with the Ahri into Gragas because he doesn't have a lot of escape, and without his cask, there's a lot of power actually for Lee Sin into this lane. So they're going to put the Gragas top here because that's where he's going to have a longer lane. It's going to be much more difficult for Oner to have an impact here, and Cassante shouldn't be able to break him either. He can still build AP and build damage here, but the Akali is going to give you an extra crossfire setup here on objectives. You can flank and get the backline very easily. It's a very squishy composition here for T1. So I like this flex. It's not one we expected to see here, but it works so incredibly well. Taking a look at the scoreboard here.
How a Life is T1's one and only. Yeah. In terms of, you know, teams that can defeat them, I would imagine.
I mean, this standing shows what would happen if T1 loses this game right now and the HLE take that 10th win. Love to see the orange color on it. This is going to be such an interesting game. A T1 really opting into their snowbally style, trying to get picks early. And now the Gragas is pulled out of the mid lane. This Ahri not going to be as potent with the pre-level 6 Lee Sin. Oner has to get so much done this game. We know he can. It's his best champion.
Yeah. Felt bad, you know, you mentioned he got the loss on his Lee Sin, and he's going to be desperate for one of those in this game number 2. Let's hop onto the Rift right now. Let's take a little look at this invade. They're trying to bait Faker to, like, poke at him maybe and jump over the wall, but Faker's not going to take that bait.
Oh, they will be able to get this ward up. We'll drop it late to make sure he gets the most value possible. Faker going to start W here.
Yeah.
Some first strike gold.
Nice, GG. 9 gold. It's over.
Sick advantage.
Mm-hmm.
So both of these junglers will be spotted early in the pathing. That's going to miss, unfortunately, for Guma. We'll have control of this lane early, as we saw in the previous matchup of the Lucian Nami versus the Xayah Rakan. Very difficult to play out until you have level 2 for the Xayah and Rakan, unless there is a mistake made. And once again, press the attack here for Guma.
Mm-hmm. Lucian Nami not super strong in their own right at level 1. Very strong at level 2. It's kind of funny the way it works out as we are going for that one in a flash already. They know he has W, so... Okay.
Yeah, they know he has W. It's actually a really good call, because if you see that, you know you can actually just aggressively push forward here, and you know that Guma can't really combo and trade back the damage. So yeah, in terms of health trade here, nothing really happening, but getting a flash is massive. He's going to look for it again.
Okay, well, they're not going to get the knockup this time. Good trade now for T1's side. Let's see who's going to get level 2 here first. At the moment, looks like Guma and Keria. It's very close.
Yeah, it's really close.
It's going to happen at the same time.
Yeah.
There you go.
Very intense. Notice Faker has complete control of mid, by the way, this whole time. Same with Zeus on the top side. So Soul Lane's completely under T1's control at this moment in time in the early levels, as is expected.
I feel like I'm like
3.
So forward in my seat right now. I'm like, something's going to happen.
Something is going to happen, but Guma's positioning good here. No Blade Caller to come through. Don't have level 3 just yet.
And they know the possibility, or at least they should, as the dash away. Life taking a huge chunk. Where is Clid is the question. Yes, he gets a bit of damage in, but now Oner making his way down.
Gonna have to heal probably.
Oh, he's gonna hit the minion as okay. E onto multiple members. Just gonna kite it back and we reset. We go again.
So a trade of heals here. Flash still down for Guma. At the end of the day, feeling pretty good about this one as T1 because you got the health trade in your favor. Now Oner's got control here with bottom side. Is going to come over and make a pass at Clid. As Wukong on a huge win rate right now. We can notice a broad spectrum of players too. Clid undefeated on this champion. 2 of the wins in a row. Akali has not had the same.
Yeah, Akali's on a massive losing streak on 13.4. This is spotted. And so Oner is not going to get much value there, as he is going way into the enemy jungle. The blue buff hasn't even been taken 4 minutes into the game.
And this wave is crashing here.
Love this meta.
Life positioned aggressively. Needs to be careful about getting caught here.
The poke that's coming in onto Viper already, but Guma, crucially, no flash. As okay, dash away, but now they're on top of him, but the damage not quite there. Viper flashes forward. They don't quite have vision, as they do get first blood. This will go into Clid's hands.
He can play to the alcove.
Oh, but they got too much damage on the Clid, and Life goes down, and so will Viper.
There's not enough damage here.
One by one, the dominoes go down.
It's 3 kills now going over to T1 here. He's in the back there in the alcove, but they don't have enough health. And he doesn't have any damage at this point to try to fight it over the wall here. So HLE stick around and he flashes forward looking for the fight, looking for that first blood. It goes over to Clid. So yes, HLE do get first blood, but it's on the Wukong. 2 kills to Oner. And so much money now to the bottom lane of T1. A Dirk picked up here for Guma.
Immediate gank to the top side? Kind of being denied vision right now.
Life
Here comes Life. Okay, let's see it. Gonna get hit by the 1 barrel. He's got Ghost. Knockup comes in, but yeah, the damage not quite there.
King and no level 6. If he has 6, maybe you make something of it with the cask.
Yeah.
Unsuccessful.
Just pinging that Ghost that they got,
Yeah, I could hear that.
Trying to keep the morale high after what happened down here.
So Guma cleanses early. And then is going to be taken out here. Viper flashing past Keria to look for this damage. Now he's got the alcove. The emote comes out, but Life has no health. Clid can't do anything. So you just give everything over. In mid, meanwhile.
Yeah, we got... Okay, it's going to be just fine.
Flash is expended. This game, man.
This game is like 5 minutes in. I'm like, oh, God. What's going to happen?
As the dust settles, HLE are in big trouble. The early game has gone very well here for T1. You have an early Dirk for Guma, so you can push aggressively. Always going to have control of this bottom lane for the time being now, which means you're going to have this first rake. And this is a composition that needs to snowball, right? And the Lee Sin getting ahead and other different types of compositions where you're trying to get, some advantages for scaling champions. You feel worse about Lee Sin having 2 kills early because it's going to mean less later. It's actually great in this case because it means Lee Sin could do more things faster and continue to snowball the game. So it's not actually a detriment in this case at all. Bubble hits, not going to follow up.
No vision.
There is a whole lot of things that can go wrong here now for HLE in this mid-game against this RE competition.
Charm, Zeka gonna get hit by it, but take a look at this. He's still going in as, well, not gonna land the shuriken. Faker does not have Spirit Rush, but he did have Flash. If anything, got a little bit hairy.
Oner down here at level 5. This looks very familiar to the previous game. He's crashing this wave through, taking a massive CS lead. And Oner doesn't actually have to commit here, but if Life wants to get cute, he will punish.
Yeah. And, just in case Clid is around, but now with Faker making his way down here, probably calling out the Spirit Rush cooldown, just going to use this 4-man push. They don't even need to get kills. They can just pick up plates, pressure the map.
The timing of that first rake, because they got control so early, means that there's no cross map here. 30 seconds on Herald means that Clid can't take that objective. He doesn't have 6. He can't come down here to help. And there's nothing he can do. Maybe he could try to gank the Cassante, but Zeus even has his Ghost coming back up here now. So plates going over, tons of CS denied for this early game Xayah.
Yeah, and Oner's still here, by the way. Level 6 is in, they're going for Viper. He does not have Flash, and down he will go. Oner picking up the kill once again, 3-0 on the Lee Sin. I mentioned he wants revenge.
And this is so much CS lost already here in the bottom lane. And without your Xayah here, you know, she has to rush back to lane as quickly as she can, but Oner could just run right to top side here where they already have Prio in mid and on the top lane to take this Herald. So the interim Clid can't find anything. And if Viper has level 6 for this dive, maybe he lives there, trades one back, but he doesn't. He doesn't have flash because he lost it in the previous exchange. Now he's 30 CS behind. And guess what? I guess first pick Lucian really does rule the day.
Yeah, and it has been banned from time to time, but it's rough. You don't get a lot of bans. It's pretty elementary, right? Like, as you mentioned, no flash, no ult, no hope. He's dead, 3v2.
Good cleanse and flash there from Guma to make sure he gets out. Life is pushed over. Cannot even get the experience there. Is pushed out of the lane. So no 6 for the bottom duo here of HLE. And as mentioned, Oner is just going to have this uncontested, no farm lost on the map. And we're going to see the lane swap attempt here, it looks like. Because if this is a contest,
they're just
I have bad news.
They're pinging onto the Rift Heralds. They're a bit late.
Yeah, a bit, I think, is an understatement.
Yeah, they are very late. Smite comes in way too late. Clid is going to flash and look for a flash cyclone onto an Ahri. So that's not going to amount to too much. As
he's got, okay, second activation not going to happen. That's the end of that. It was like he flashed in and he was like, I'm going to get something with this. And then did trade an ultimate for Faker, but a flash down now. And that is one of the biggest tools you have in HLE's composition here early is Flash Cyclone. Oh, hits it in the Shroud. But now he's not going to have that. And it was telegraphed that he doesn't have it. And he wanted to use it so desperately, right? But because he's so late and doesn't have the vision required or the setup here with Gragas to lead to a combo, he just throws his flash away. So now T1 know for the next 5 minutes, he won't have that really insane engage tool.
Yeah, it's going to feel pretty good as, yeah, I mean, take a look at the gold lead. It's 3,000 at 10 minutes into the game. It's a massive deficit for Viper down on the bottom side. Top lane as well, you know, just a little bit going in favor of Zeus. And it does feel like T1 are a bit dissatisfied with the way game 1 went. So they're cleaning everything up. They said, well, we got an early lead in the last game. Let's get an even bigger early lead in this game.
That's what I was going to say. The lead in game 1 was pretty huge, but it looks very tiny compared to the lead we're looking at here.
Yeah.
So T1 also known to be the best snowballing team, you know, by a large margin here in the LCK. And D+ and Genji coming close. So they are definitely the team that takes advantages and snowballs them so well. Speaking of,
culling is nullified by Guardian.
Ahri here starting to get, you know, quite a bit of farm and is going to be very relevant to snowball this game. And once again, with this mid prio, we could have seen, looks like they were considering it, a dive setup before Drake, but instead they will just group up for Drake faster here with the bottom prio they have. There's just nothing HLE can do about this right now with no flash for Clid. And King, by the way, is going tank Gragas. Thought maybe he'd go damage here just because of the lack of longevity here in this composition for T1 and the extra burst against these squishy targets who are trying to go in. Might have been great to, instead of just tanking the pick, just go ahead and blow up whoever is coming at you. Like, if Ahri's coming at you, you actually just turn and destroy her with the Akali damage. But instead, we'll be going tanky, so he's not going to be relevant in these fights really for a long time either. And that's not doing them any favors.
Mountain Soul this time. We had Cloud in game 1. So we got some extra terrain, and of course, the extra buffs that will eventually come in here for whoever picks up those Mountain Drakes. The tank Gragas is going to enjoy this, as you were just talking about, with the tank builds here for Kingen, and of course Cassante and even Oner, as gold leads across the board, but mostly in the 80 carry role.
True. 1,200. Not looking great. We'll see what the breaking point is going to be in this game, because Soul Point is a fight that T1 absolutely should win. And HLE, if they give it up, doesn't get easier just by default. You know, their comp doesn't just scale better.
Well, they see you as Oner trying to take away the red buff. He's on a mission to survive as he might actually gets in to avoid the cask as nobody can kill the Lee Sin. The tidal wave comes in and Zeka's kind of hopeless too, goes down right after his flash. And it was all just an epic bait at the end of the day. As in goes Faker, he's got stopwatch. Talked about him being good at doing this, but he is going to have to flash away.
Yeah. Bit overzealous there, I'd say, but what an incredible set of plays from Oner and crew. Keria coming over with the heals, and that was super well played. 3,000 assists hit now here in Game 2. The 5th support to do so in LCK history.
And this is the overall. He's also hit the 10th in overall. This is insane what this player has been able to pull off this fast.
All rolls here, and what looked like a juicy opportunity there to punish a Lee Sin who has tons of map control, who's trying to look for a red buff, ends up backfiring in a big way. And Kingen doesn't actually have a lot of damage here, right? He's tank rungs, hits a body slam, Oner kicks him away, gets a shield. Faker comes over with Everfrost, he gets a heal from Keria, and then Tidal Wave keeps Zeka off of him, and Zeka comes in to look to delete him with 5-point strike. Like, this team can turn on a dime. They will take any scenario and make it theirs. Faker going a bit far on this, but it's like, I like to imagine T1 practice in the X-Men Danger Room, where they just like set the difficulty to the highest. Can we win this fight? We'll find out.
Well, Keria's feeling himself. He is going to zone Zeka into Faker's charm, I guess. That's one way to say it. He did flash bubble in Akali. Didn't quite work out.
Nope. Opportunistic. And remember, T1's composition does want to snowball super hard, so moves like this are how you get there. But the lead they have already, I think, is quite enough. You know, sometimes we're like, okay, this Lucian comp, how ahead are they? They're ahead, but are they ahead enough? No, definitely not. You know, we have to have that conversation sometimes. You know, T1 have hit all the benchmarks quite nicely. But further snowballing that lead is definitely what they're looking for here, as Faker gets the whole bottom turret. So that's 2 turrets down, and they will be able to take this second Herald. And this could potentially Valdez line up nicely for the Soul Point here. The first Mountain Drake, just drop that in mid, threaten the inner, or even put it topside with TPs here for Faker and Zeus.
Yeah.
Just pull HLE around the map, because Zeka and Kingen both don't have their TPs, so you could just wait, push it top, TP the objective, and say checkmate, basically.
Yeah. Individual Mountain Drake's going to be relatively strong. Faker doesn't have flash, but he is Ahri, and Keria is just hanging around on the bottom side of the map, so should be totally fine. Not actually threatening him under turret or anything.
Clid sticks around, charm misses. This could be a window. It's just so hard to pull this off, and you don't know where Oner is, so you don't want to force it. Speaking of Oner, he is actually on the bottom side. See some bait pings here actually around the Drake itself. So looking like they're not planning on using the Herald on the opposite side of the map here and then teleporting in. So Oner, of course, doesn't have teleport as the jungler. They just want to fight this out as a brawl. Zeus is still hard pushing top alone. And because this is such an important Drake, like, Kingen has to walk down. He doesn't have TP, so effectively, right now, Zeus is the Rift Herald that I was talking about.
Yeah, and they can use the Rift Herald as well. Probably gonna drop it in mid, you'd have to imagine. Although they are giving up a lot of space here in the mid. Faker going to spot this happening. And it is dropped, but Hamalife Esports trying to press onto the Drake. They don't quite have enough damage to rush it down.
Zeka on the edge here. Good control ward to spot that flanking Akali. They're looking for life.
Uh-oh. Yep, life on the flank as well. And he will be spotted out, pushed away.
Zeka's actually going to get this ward gone. And the tussle for this Drake continues.
Now, life is about to get his flash up. Could be huge. Let's see. As it's getting close, the charm hits onto Zeka, Everfrost as well, and it resets as the engage here onto Oner. They're trying to burst him down and they get him! They get the Lee Sin! But what is the follow-up going to look like here with T1 so far ahead? Zeka is dead. As the feather's now on the ground, Clid is not winning this fight against Zeus, as Viper tries to pull him back, but just gets clapped by Gumayusi as they will chase them down. And Kingen is not going to be able to stop them this time.
Yeah, Clid. Oh, he's taken out here. It's so close. Looks like it might be another early ace, just like last game.
Yeah, same situation too, where Kingen is going to survive a long time, just like life in the last game.
It's just history repeats itself. A soul point fight, a full wipe here. Sub 20 minutes for T1.
They're not going to get it just yet.
No, Oner's going to come back here and take it. They want to get the better reset here so they could actually instantly go get Baron vision control. As this fight, Zeka's charmed on the left side of it, and when Kingen goes in for the engage and they spend everything on Oner with the Cyclone here, look who's untouched, the carries. And Faker was on the left side of this fight, and he's instantly on the right, because that's what Ahri does. So she's actually able to deal with Zeka on one side, and then on the right side of the fight, still make an impact here and chase down the enemy carriers who are so significantly behind. Kingen is tank Gragas, and then Clid is pulled out by Zeus. So yeah, you killed the enemy jungler, but your jungler isn't doing anything. And while this is all happening, Clid actually loses out to Zeus in the 1v1. It was so close, such a narrow fight. And then Kingen is taken out last year. They give the kill over to Guma. And now in live, Oner is going to pick up this Drake here. Soul Point leading into a Baron spawn. And T1's lead is so massive at this point that they are already setting up deep vision, like I said, with that reset, buying those control words, putting them on the back of the pit, and the gold graph just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, it's just swelling up there on the right side as we're looking at over 8,000 now. 8,000 and a half. And How Life Esports, I mean, they did it in game one. They came back from a deficit that was not as much, as Life is just bouncing around in the jungle. And crucially, you know, in game one, T1 were not able to just take that easy peasy, you know, 21-minute T1 Baron that we talk about all the time. So that should be kind of the first step, but T1, they're really trying to take as much vision, and we got a TP in the Baron pit.
Yeah, it's from Kingen.
Yeah, they're very far behind. In goes Zeka. And I think he's just going to go out now. So he's just gone. Nice try.
Guma,
like, oh crap.
He's very low.
Yeah, but this is Tank Gragas. Oh, that's weird.
They just really wanted to stay longer here to maybe set something up for Life, because Life still has his ult. If they can kind of keep hiding back here and Kingen is unseen,
Zeka
maybe.
bot.
Yeah, this is just so
give it away.
desperate. I think they have to, and there's some bounty gold to be taken. It's not all bad. They can try to set up a big steal play here. Clid with no flash, unfortunately, but with this Gragas, maybe it's possible.
They're looking around. They're checking every corner. They have no idea where Kingen is.
Kind of greedy,
This is taking
T1.
a long time.
Yeah, this is pretty greedy, T1, and look, Zeka's coming back.
Yeah, he's here, actually. I mean, he's going to get here on time, at least.
Clid's got the wraparound. Here we go.
Oh, as they get in, and the cask is pretty good. Look at Guma. That's going to be their main target. He hits the shuriken. He gets in onto Guma. You've got to be kidding me. They can't do it twice,
They did it again, Valdez. They did it again. And Clid with the full wraparound. Guma is exposed.
They're
they
doing
have
Baron.
the cask. They split this team in half, and they kill the Lee Sin early. Guma's the second death, and thank you very much for the early Baron, T1. As this was greedy, you didn't know where Kingen was. And I love, once again, HLE was so patient. They could have tried to all in and kill Guma, but they're like, no, let's back off. They don't know where we are. We have vision control, and if we can get this Gragas into an impossible location, maybe we win this fight. Because look at where Clid is.
Shuriken from Zeka.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a through. Kingen zones the rest of them out. Faker is next to be targeted. So they kill the jungler. Zeus can't do anything in this fight. So beautiful. Incredible.
Just dodging everything.
Everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, and especially, again, you know, to point out, it's Kingen and Zeka who are kind of like when everything is down to the wire. These guys, it's like they're still living in Worlds. Like Kuni was making, I don't know if it was full for real or if it was a joke about how it kind of looks like World Finals, but I don't know, man. You know, seeing some of these same names, a lot of the same names, actually, if you consider both teams. But especially Kingen and Zeka, just the way they're playing under this pressure is kind of insane.
It really is. Now, T1 still have a massive gold lead. And notice that the Baron buff, even though taken, hasn't really gotten HLE across the map. Bounties, for example, are still available. So this is the first step of many. But this composition does have a lot of scaling aspects to it. And if they can survive, I mean, this is really similar to game one, right? And arguably an even more extreme version of that because this is an Ahri.
Yeah.
Not in his ear.
It's like earlier as well.
Yeah.
This is happening. Like the Baron fight in the last game was like 26 minutes.
And this Xayah is going to do crazy things defensively here. She is one of the hardest champions you can play a pick comp into. And T1, they got ahead so much that it felt like, oh, it doesn't matter what their comp is. It doesn't matter how we're going to play it out. But one greedy Baron.
Okay. Everfrost. There's potential, yeah. He's going to go in for this one as Zeka trying to get on top of the Ahri. The damage's not quite there, but he will go down in the end, and Clid is just barely there.
Trading up in gold. Trading up in gold. There's bounty gold here. Bounty on this turret as well. As Clid's trying to push it down before those fall, and I think he will get it. Oner's over here.
He's got it.
That's a lot of money into this Wukong's pocket.
Oner getting on top of the Wukong now. We don't have Cyclone here for Clid, as he's in a little bit of trouble. That's actually trading it back here as the kick onto the real one, as he should get it. Yeah, the Q comes in, execution onto Clid. At least Oner trades it back.
Yeah, so it's pretty significant, but the gold pickup here, advantage HLE, still just cutting a hole as best as they can in this gold lead. It's still a trade up of kills, of course, for T1, but structure's off the map, and when you're trading even from behind, especially when your comp is scaling, you're feeling decent about that. As this is Zeka getting caught by the Charm. Now the Drake is spawning here. This is one that HLE absolutely cannot give up here. This is the Mountain Soul, so...
They're not in position, though.
Yeah, they are not in position. Even with Baron buff here, with the loss of those two players, they're just not going to contest. So this really hurts. The Soul wasn't enough to win for T1 in the previous game, but in this game, it's way more significant. It is that Mountain Soul stacked so early. What it also does, too, is... Yeah, we're going to watch the whole part of this. What the Drake also does is that it's an Elder Spawner, which means that you can actually fight for this objective earlier, so you have less time for your opponent to scale. If HLE gets any of these Drakes, it's 5 extra minutes before the Elder comes up, and that's absolutely not what T1 wants.
Yeah, this is, this is getting crazy again. Gotta like T1's chances at this moment in time, but as you mentioned, you know, as time comes along, slowly passes, you get one of those lengthy team fights, the Xayah's doing crazy things, Zek on 3 items, etc. We could find ourselves in a very similar situation to game 1. Life just playing it so patiently, they know they just got to play the time game. But T1, they've got a little pep in their step this time. Everything's happening a bit quicker here in game 2.
Yeah. Some flank wards being cleared here. As you can see by Faker, lots of control vision set up. You need to play around this in order to keep this lead, in order to prevent the flank from Clid, prevent that Kingen flank. But with all the resources being spent to clear those wards, you know, HLE holding on by a thread here on this turret.
Yeah, they're holding for now.
They've got good wave clear.
Kingen on Tank Gragas, he can kind of just sit in the front and always kind of threaten, you know? You never really know if you're going to get cast into like a Rakan knock-up charm, etc. It's kind of scary. So T1 without Baron, they can't necessarily just take free 5v5 turrets. And Siege is not fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. And grouping up like that, 5v5, means that no one on HLE is farming an aside. That's for sure. But it also means that T1 isn't getting anything from this mountain advantage right now that they have. And they're not furthering their lead or threatening an inhibitor. And just grouping on a turret and losing it is just buying further time for HLE. But T1 have a ton of map control. And I don't think that Kingen is going to be able to have the world's widest flank once again on this Baron, because it spawns in 45 seconds here and T1 have all the angles covered. They've already controlled all of the flank angles. You see Faker, Oner, and Keria just went to make sure there is no TP flank for Kingen or Zeka.
You can only get burned so many times. We did just have 2 big item pickups here for the side of T1. A Rabadon Seth Cap for Faker and an Infinity Edge for Gumayusi.
Very big damage output here.
20 seconds until the Baron.
And HLE, if they give this up, it means that T1 are going to have potentially some inhibitors down, some of HLE's inhibitors down for the Elder. So getting that prio is going to be nigh impossible. So this objective leads into the more critical Elder fight afterwards. So it is so important for HLE to contest this. And even though Xayah has 3 items here, it's going to be about the setup. It's going to be about the CC, avoiding Faker here. Does have Zhonya's available. Mountain Soul So you even have a longer leash to try to dive and set up for this stuff. As T1 with that additional resistance, with those additional shields.
Zooming in on Viper there, he just picked up his, he doesn't have any boots.
He found a pocket. Oh, he found a pocket of vision here. This is actually wild that he was able to get around here. And the Scuttle's about to fade. This is insane. He might have just enough time to wrap around and catch them here.
Man. Are they gonna get, is this gonna happen again?
I mean, it might.
The rest of the team has got to come in here from mid. They still have some time. 28 minutes.
Still some time here, but not a lot. Zeka coming over, Zeus zoning him out. They could just look for the steal.
Oh, Klid spotted. Flash in from Guma, and you know what? It's gonna work. They're gonna take down Klid. Looked a bit confusing at first, but yeah, now Life in a little bit of trouble. The turn here from T1 should just be enough, although the feathers are on the ground. Gotta be careful going into Viper. He gets close. This is going all the way down. Jonas Strong has to keep scrolling forever. The feathers are on the ground here, but Viper just has to run away. Kingen will be the second one to go down.
And we're 30 minutes into the game here. These death timers are getting pretty long, and T1 should be able to push with Baron to get at least inhibitors down, if not win the game outright. And that's how you can handle a flank here. As T1, you see Klid, he doesn't have a GA this game. He's sitting on 2 items, and Guma decides, with my IE and the damage I have stacked up here and my team's positioning, plus the fact that he's aware of the rest of HLE being so far away they can't follow up on a Cyclone, he's like, your flank is just one bridge too far. They flash on top of Klid, kill him early, and the subsequent fight is just so easy for T1. They have great chase, and this Wombo combo setup here for HLE relies so heavily on the Wukong Cyclone. So they know where Zeka is, they know where Kingen is, and Guma flashes here, they destroy the Wukong, and then Tidal Wave goes down, and how do you turn this around now as HLE? You can't get to the backline, and you just have to run for the hills. Good attempts here from Viper, all things considered, but he is all outed. And that is the end of this fight. T1 resetting, Baron up, and Elder where they've got their eyes focused now.
They're trying to get their own Exodia here. Timing not going to be as good as it was for Hanwha Life Esports in game 1. And you see that Hanwha, they're trying to group up here. They got to try something, I guess. Up against the Baron, they're down 9,000 gold and a Mountain Soul.
Klid still has Flash. All it takes is a Smite steal. You know, T1 Secure has to be really good here. And Oner has had problems sticking to these objectives in this series so far. Not all of them, but, you know, let's turn our pages back to game 1. It's definitely not impossible to believe that Klid could do this.
Right, everybody's in the bottom lane. Hanwha Life Esports.
Its turret is still up, by the way, so HLE can't just wrap all the way around.
Yeah.
The turret is up and very healthy.
Zeka's pushing out mid. He's going to have an angle from the mid side. Right. This is starting up. Down goes the turret.
Not as healthy as I thought. They push it down, and here's your angle, Klid.
Yeah. And T1, you got to be so careful. You might even be second-guessing yourself after the way game 1 went. Zeka, though, is
just drawing them away. He's drawing them away. He's hoping that, but T1 are not going to take the bait. They're just going to let the Drake reset.
Yeah.
Nice try, Klid.
Zeka's got TP, though. Let's see how this one is going to go. Life and Viper having the angle from the bottom side. As CP is coming in, and Faker's going to get caught on the front line, but he's got his Zonias. And will that be enough to get him a big knockup from the Cassante as Faker is still alive? They finally get him in the end. Viper is fighting it out from the back line. Let's look at Zeka in the back line,
too. Oh my God, Valdez!
Hanwha Life are winning a fight down 9,000 gold. What is happening?
Oh my God. Now it's not over yet. Viper here, still full health, but Zeka's so low, and they still have this Cassante on the front line. So neither of these teams could take this objective. Klid's still alive, so he has Smite. But
scaling of Hanwha Life is winning them these games, and just the way they're playing it.
Yeah, but also T1 still very ahead, right? They still have the items. They still absolutely can win this 3v4 with Hanwha Life not having Zeka able to be in this fight. Doesn't have TP either because he used it just before this. So watch the engage here. Teleport comes through from Zeka. He's not here on the initial part, but Faker way overextending here. And the value of Cyclone in this fight is unreal. Life has stopwatch when they try to target him down, and as everybody tunnels on the Viper, the Blade Caller comes through, and he just lives through everything. Guma cannot get close to him. That burst on the Zeka is what makes sure that T1 are still in this game.
Oh, Life, gotta be careful.
And we're going again.
Yeah.
Back on the merry-go-round
again. And Kingen, guess what? You know, he played Cassante in game 1. Now he's playing Tank Gragas, hits the perfect cask against Faker, who's got Zhonya's, he's got Flash, he is Ahri, doesn't matter.
Look at the item value here, still higher for T1, but the gap is much smaller than it was before, especially when you look at the 80 carries here.
Yeah, and got like 2,000 smaller.
I mean, Faker is so squishy, too, that even with the Mountain Soul, if he dies, you know, that extra damage, those extra items don't mean as much. You know, if he doesn't burst down that target, who cares if he's 3,000 gold ahead if Zeka's zipping around the backline?
Life have some good vision right now on the Drake, so they know this is happening, but T1's trying to force a fight right now without Zeka in it. He's King in a lot of trouble. He's very tanky, but not tanky enough. Down goes the Gragas. And that is a very nice turn and pick here from T1.
A lot of tools gone for HLE until that moment. Like, Viper just barely got his ult back up. Kingen is not here in this fight, no TP. And with Flash Cyclone, Clid is your win condition once again. Watch the monkey.
Oh, God.
This is everything. They have Life here, who doesn't have Flash, but can try to ult in.
Oh, Zeka, he's got to go in. He doesn't have a way out. Has Zhonya's, but on the front line, he's just on the run. As in they go, the knockup comes in from the side of Zeus, and that will be the end of the Akali. And they keep this one on a leash. It looks like 5,000 health.
Yeah, and Clid just wants so desperately to steal, but Zeus is following him and tracking him, so he won't be able to 50-50 this. The Elder does go to T1. A Baron has expired, so this is not Exodia.
Oh, man.
But they could use the Elder to try to push this mid lane.
Yeah.
As you can see, the ping is coming down immediately to grab the inhibitor, and any picks definitely lead to this game ending. Right now, we go 3.
Yeah, I mean,
back.
5v4 with Elder should be enough.
Clid once again, man, on the world's longest flank.
I thought maybe he was trying to get into the wave or something, but not quite going to happen. T1 looking good on the charge down mid. As the cast not good enough this time. Very nice on the timing of the Featherstorm, but I just don't think it's going to matter too much. But that is a big ultimate in that backline. The Elder is so strong, but Oner's going to go down. And all of a sudden, okay, we're trading. And Zeka just trying to survive as Zeus.
Saw Viper.
Frontlining, yeah, it's just got to be Viper, but oh, you're fighting against Elder Drake. How can you do it? Oh, he's going to hit the charm, and that should be enough. Down goes the Zaya, and T1 have done it just barely. I mean, they were ahead like 10,000 gold the whole game, and they finally did it.
That's
down
it.
will go the Nexus here, and we are going to a game number 3.
T1, 2 dominant early games back.